Hi, my name is Sarah Wolf, and I'm a faculty member at Drisha's summer high school programs. This week's Parsha is Parashat Toldot. In the Parsha, we read about the difficult relationship between Yaakov and Esav, beginning with their sparring in utero, continuing with Yaakov's purchase of the birthright from Esav, and concluding with Yaakov's procurement of the firstborn's blessing from his dying father, Yitzchak. In this troubling final scene, Yaakov comes before his father disguised as Esav. Yitzchak is very old and his sight is failing him, so Yaakov gears his deceit towards Yitzchak's other senses. He clothes himself in goat skins so that he will feel and smell like his hirsute brother, and he presents his father with a dish that will taste like the meat Yitzchak requested from Esav. The disguise works on almost every count. Yaakov indeed feels like Esav and smells like Esav. His dish seems to taste convincing enough as well. Yet there is one flaw in his disguise. After hearing his son speak, Yitzchak says, "Hakol kol Yaakov v'hayadayim yedei Esav." The voice is Yaakov's voice, and the hands are Esav's hands. What does Yitzchak mean by this? The pshat seems to be that Yitzchak is confused by the contradictory information provided to him by his senses. His senses of touch and smell identify the goatskins with Esav, while his sense of hearing identifies the unique sound of the voice of Yaakov. Yet the Siftei Chachamim points out that if Yaakov took the time to be concerned that his father might try to touch his skin, why wouldn't it have occurred to him that he might be given away by the sound of his voice? Indeed, although Yaakov and Esav do not look alike, it is not difficult to imagine that two siblings might have similar-sounding voices. Rather, as some commentators suggest, Yitzchak's comment refers to the distinctive content of Yaakov's speech. Perhaps the respectful way he addresses Yitzchak, or perhaps even the fact that Yaakov credits God for providing him with the meat he gives his father. Still, this doesn't explain why, given these contradictory indicators of identity, Yitzchak decides that the son before him must be Esav. In Midrash Rabbah, the pasuk is given an interpretation that emphasizes the adversarial relationship between Yaakov and Esav. According to the Midrash, the pasuk is presenting a set of alternatives. As long as the voice of the people, Kol Yaakov, can be heard in the synagogues and Batei Midrash, will Bnei Yisrael be safe from foreign rulers, Yedei Esav. The Kli Yakar points out that this Midrash seems not to fit with the context of the Parsha. The pasuk in its original context describes a conflation of Yaakov and Esav, whereas the Midrash presents the pasuk as an either-or situation. And furthermore, how does the Midrashic interpretation fit with the blessing that follows the pasuk? Yaakov is blessed with the ability to rule over Esav, not the other way around. I want to suggest that the Midrash picks up on the Parsha's theme of the spiritual and material power of words, in contrast to the compelling but ultimately misleading world of the senses. Throughout the Parsha, words have the power to change fundamental truths in deep and irreversible ways. Yitzchak implores God on behalf of his barren wife, resulting in Rivka's pregnancy with twins. Esav's verbal sale of his birthright to his brother seems to have real and lasting import. And in the end, despite Yitzchak's intention to bless Esav, his words have power that is beyond his control, and he finds to his dismay that he has bestowed an irrevocable and effective blessing on his younger son, Yaakov. When Yitzchak says Hakol kol Yaakov, it is a moment of inadvertently realizing the truth. Only Yaakov's words, the content of his speech, had the power to convey who he truly was. Yet Yitzchak, like so many of us, was very much influenced by his physical experiences. No wonder he identified more strongly with Esav, the more bodily oriented of his two sons. And so instead of realizing the truth, Yitzchak comes to a different conclusion, not the real identity of the son before him asking for the blessing, but perhaps something that was easier for him to believe. The Midrash highlights the warning in this Parsha not to be led astray by what is physically compelling, but to focus on the real source of truth, which is words. In this Midrash, specifically the Word of God, found in the synagogues and the Batei Midrash. These words will, in turn, help continue to protect us by leading us to the ultimate truth. Nonetheless, the Parsha elicits sympathy for those who are strongly oriented towards their senses, as both Esav and Yitzchak are. These more embodied characters are the positively portrayed figures in the story, in contrast to the intellectual, scheming, even dishonest Rivka and Yaakov. And furthermore, had Yitzchak not heeded his senses, and instead realized that the truth was in Yaakov's words, Yaakov would never have received the blessing. So this Parsha portrays the power of words while also complicating that portrayal, showing us that though they may be the ultimate source of truth, the world does not run on words alone. Shabbat Shalom.